It's me, the tree guy!
Welcome to another video in my series about getting into competitive Riftbound play. For this week, I'm preparing for my first ever Summoner Skirmish. I've been playing Lee Sin for a few weeks now, and while I like playing him, I unfortunately don't think he's that good. The build I'm currently playing is more low to the ground and generally likes to play aggressively. After having played against Set a few times, I realized my version of Lee Sin feels really similar, but it just doesn't have the insurance net that Set's Legend provides. You instead have to rely on counters and combat tricks. On the other hand, the list Jeff Jones got Best of Lee Sin with in Houston has bigger units like Deadbloom Predator. That version just feels like a worse version of Master Yi. Lee Sin is probably a bit better into damage-based removal heavy matchups like Kaisa, but much worse at defending battlefields. So when deciding on a new legend, I looked at what I liked about Lee Sin. I really liked the reactive nature of calm cards, but the body cards were mostly just about being big. The body cards I liked the most were Udyr because he was very flexible, and First Mate because he allows you to play around with movement. So with that in mind, I decided to build Yasuo. Yasuo has the reactive calm cards that I liked, while also having the movement cards from the Chaos domain. He can also be played pretty aggressively, while also being defensive, since he can just move units to a battlefield right away, or move them back to safety after attacking. Since I didn't have a lot of time to test, I just went with the list that Gale Wins won Best of Yasuo with in Houston. The only thing I changed is I replaced the main deck Rebuke with Last Breath, and my sideboard had a few Adaptatrons in it. For round 1, I played against Yasuo. I managed to win the tempo race and get the win. Since we were playing similar cards, the Mask of Foresight was very important, so I sided in my second Mask of Foresight from the sideboard and added my Adaptatrons as well. Overall, this match just came down to whoever can get ahead on tempo, since it's really easy to retreat to safety with Yasuo's Legend ability. In the second round, I played against Kaisa. I lost game 1 pretty fast because I couldn't get anything to stick on the board. I also played into Falling Star by playing 2 Wielder of Water, which was a mistake. In game 2, I sided in my 1 of Windwall to hopefully counter his Acathian Rain, but he instead played a Time Warp that I was able to counter, which gave me a massive tempo lead, allowing me to win. The third game, I was able to use Wielder of Water with Mask of Foresight to get a massive tempo advantage by forcing him to retreat his Kaisa and by rebuking his Darius combo. I also won game 3 by slamming multiple Mind Splitters on the board and just taking his Thousand-Tailed Watchers and Dariuses to remove his late game entirely. In the third round, I played against Misfortune. I lost game 1 to a turn 3 Dazzling Aurora. In game 2, I sided out my Gus and Clockwork Keepers and put in my Adaptatrons and Rebukes. I was able to use Windswept Hillock and Yasuo's ability to aggressively move my 2 drops to get early points and gank over to the other battlefield. I also used Discipline to block his early Gus, which helped cycle my deck to find my tech cards while also making my Rasas cheaper. I was able to out-tempo my opponent the whole game, leading to a quick win. In game 3, I used a Mind Splitter on my opponent and saw that he had 3 Dazzling Auroras in hand, so I took 1. I was holding an Adaptatron, so I planned to kill his Aurora after he had played it, which ended up being a mistake because he played an Aurora and hit his own Mind Splitter, which took away my Adaptatron. The next turn, he just played his other Aurora, and I couldn't keep up with the 2 Auroras, losing me the round. I learned that against Misfortune, Adaptatron is safest in my base instead of my hand. Since there was only 7 of us total, Top Cut was just 4 players. In my first round of Top Cut, I played against the Misfortune player I just played. This time, he only managed to play 1 Dazzling Aurora in the 3 games, which is also the only game that I lost. The other 2 games, he simply could not keep up with the ability of Yasuo to aggressively move units to the battlefield. The finals was against the Yasuo player I played in round 1. Unfortunately, I lost the tempo in both games because he had Mask of Foresight, which made all of his units slightly bigger than mine. I never found my own masks or my adaptatrons, so I couldn't contest a lot of battlefields, which eventually led to me losing 2-0. Overall, I think getting second place is pretty good for my first Summoner Skirmish. I'm a little sad how the finals turned out, but I definitely made a bunch of misplays throughout the tournament, so it wasn't like it was just bad luck. For example, I tried using Fight or Flight on my opponent's unit while it was on a Vilemoz layer, which just ended with me losing my card and 2 energy. Going forward, I need to be much more careful when playing because you can't take things back at higher level competitive events. I don't think I'll have another opportunity this set to play another Summoner Skirmish, but I'm glad I was able to go to at least one during Origins, and I'll try to go to a few more in Spirit Forged. So that's it for this week's video. If you've made it this far, thanks so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.